paused? Okay. Oh, I got a new pimple coming on. Okay, so this is what's really strange for me. This is a story. I just had a thing with Joe Rogan and talking about uh, there was a certain fellow who studied um, alien interactions with humans, abductions, etc. And they said something very, well, heavy for me. Well, because I guess what I'm about to explain would be a part of it. Um, well, it starts in 2015, and I'm partaking in doing illicit drugs and uh, being sort of a degenerate at the time. I am now even more so than I was then. Um, but this is kind of heavy, so it's hard for me to articulate. Uh, so I'm sitting in my room. I'm playing music on YouTube, and I click on a page, and in transparent, where the label of my song should have been, it said, "Clench your teeth." And it was strange because that's not the label of the song that I had chosen. And after that, uh, some sort of video adaptation that was very transparent with every page that I was using just kind of popped up, and it showed me uh, like illustrated images of a toolbox, like this special box that just kept opening and opening and opening, and it like would never, it would just keep opening in different ways to like expand. And it was red with gold, I think. um, the next depiction was of a police car with the lights on, and the following depiction after that was, well, this one's one of the ones that I don't like talking about because it's just kind of unbelievable, and I don't really tell many people about it because people just look at me like I'm retarded, right? But it was a shapeshifter. It was actually a man, like, that was in the frame, and half of him was changing into something else, and half of him was man looking, and it just kind of switched image to image. And the weird thing about it is the next image was like explanation on like light speed. It could have been interdimensional travel, I'm not sure. But it was definitely organic means. It wasn't like a built machine. It was like the aliens or the demons or whatever they were running off of something that was able to be or able to distribute enormous amounts of power of some sort in order to uh, propel whatever they were propelling. I was studying quantum mechanics at the time, and there was a mixture of that happening with me doing a lot of degenerative stuff like I usually do. I have a huge problem with lust. It's a huge problem. I try and say that it's not, but it is. I love beautiful women, but I love beautiful women. Like, I hold them on such a high pedestal that it's unhealthy for me. And I wish I didn't. I wish I could change that. But I have underlying issues that I had with my sister and my mother as I was growing up. And they were always right, and they were always the princess. They were always the good one. They never did no wrong. I did everything wrong, and um, it really fucked my head up as an adult or coming into adulthood, because for the most part of my childhood I was treated as though I was like a geek and I was the misfit, and I was picked on a lot and nobody liked me because I was too nice and this and that. And it changed who I was, because I ended up becoming an angry teenager, kind of, in a way. A very angry, lost teenager. And at the same time, after I hit my growth spurt, and I kind of bloomed into this young man, it was strange to me because, like, I was literally made fun of, like, every day in my elementary, and then, oh, you get to go to a regular school now. So they put me in a regular school because my first school was actually a school where my teacher was allowed to physically restrain me. And there were points and times when he would bring home his drama from home, and when he'd restrain me, he'd put all of his effort into me, like, from home. Like, one time he beat me so bad, I was black and blue, and I was bleeding out of my face and my knees, and he was on top of me and he started to cry. He was a Fijian man, a brown Fijian man, and he was a great teacher. Like, there was things that he taught me that literally made me who I am today. And I forgive him for what he did to me. Even though I know that in some way or fashion I'm owed a lot of money by the government somehow. But it would never be able to be proven unless, well, there was Mr. Townend too, and he did the same things to me and other children. And when I actually went back to the school as a 19-year-old adult, when he seen me, the first thing he started to do was cry and apologize to how he treated me when I was a kid. And he was my teacher too. And I liked him too. There was good attributes about him too, but he bawled like he was wrong. Like, he really bawled like he was wrong. When I seen him again, I struck some hurt in him, and I didn't mean to. I was just coming to say hello. But when he seen me, he just broke down. And that was when I was like 18, 19. That was Parkdale School, the school of the Phoenix, where we'd sit down in the gym every Remembrance Day and sing "O Canada," our home and native, our home and native land to patriots of, our sons in all thy kind man, in all thee command, thy sons. They changed that, by the way, and I find that very disturbing. Um, Anyways, let's get back to the other topic. The transparency that was going on my computer. Um, yeah, I seen a bunch of stuff. I literally thought it was because of the way it was transparent, because of the way that it moved between the lines of the machinery and the software and the device, the way that it presented itself. It was more than hacking. It was literal, like almost like a vein was connected into my computer, and my computer was running a vein of information. uh it That's what makes me crazy. That's why I ended up in the hospital, is because nobody would believe me. Nobody thought that I was telling the truth. Can that bird go away? Anyways, so nobody thought I was telling the truth. And well, when I went to the hospital, a lot of really strange things happened, but I'm gonna leave that for later. We'll just leave the strange things that happened within the hospital after the event. Um, we'll leave that alone for now. Uh, I could give you just a little taste of it. Well, somebody came up to me and called me Jesus, and it wasn't just one person; it was multiple people. And it was just after this ordeal happened. And the reason why I got sent to the hospital to begin with was because I was just overly excited that I found out the truth about uh, the past between me and my sister and the reasons why we fought all the time. And I was just so happy to realize that it wasn't my fault. That she didn't like me, and she treated me wrong. Like, she called me retard, and just like she turned all of her friends against me. Like, her friends used to give me kisses on the cheek at night before bed, and I really, really liked that. Like, that was, yeah, that was something that really, like, anyways, they started calling me retard and all this stuff because this kid stole my marbles, and my brother taught me to defend myself. So I punched him in the nose, and I gave him broken nose and bleeding nose, and I got my marbles back. He called himself the ultimate warrior as he was standing on top of the hill with my marbles that he just stole. And I just walked up to him and I did what my brother told me to, and I popped him in the face. And then after that, they brought me into this room and they started questioning me and asking me all these weird questions and showing me different diagrams of different shapes and sizes and depictions of things, to get me to explain what I thought they were and whatnot. And I did that. And after that, they changed schools. They kicked me out of that school and they put me into this special behavior disorder classroom. And that's where my teachers literally, not sexually, but physically had their way with me. Like, whatever. if they wanted to hit you, or they wanted to barrel roll you, or they wanted to crunch your bones, or impact your rib cage, or whatever. I was dealing with that at a young age, very young age, like from like pretty much 7 years old on to about 15. And the things that I witnessed and went through and endured during those times, not only being labeled as a retard by my siblings, but my entire school being spit on as I'm going down the stairs, all kinds of things, just terrible things that I shouldn't have had to deal with as a child. But that's why it was so strange to me when I hit high school, and one of the most beautiful, most popular freshmen walk up to me, sit down on my lap, and give me a kiss right in the middle of the cafeteria in front of everybody. I was in absolute shock. I was like, what's going on here? I'm the geeky one. I am the loser, like I am the outcast. I'm the misfit. I'm not your par of person, right? Well, especially not now. Look at these fucking tits. Oh my god. I hate getting older. It sucks. Sucks. I look like crap. My teeth are yellow. I got boobs. The boobs alone. The boobs alone are fucking just ridiculous. Like, oh my god. It's terrible. It's like I just sit here. Here, you know what? I'm gonna. There. It looks a little bit better when I'm not just all tits. I just can't believe, like, the way things are coming together right now in my life, and the way that I'm thinking about things, and I definitely need help. I definitely need help. Man, Satan's got a good game if it was Satan. Man, he's got a good game. But I've kind of been on the wall about that for the last 10 years. But anyways, I'll go back to the story. So I was studying quantum mechanics. I seen the depictions on the computer screen and whatnot, and I thought that they meshed, and then I went boom in my head, and I went back in through time, past the pyramids, and it was all it was like a download of information that all just kind of like an epiphany, but a ridiculously powerful epiphany, one that was so powerful it actually left me my emotions different, the way I thought different. I had a structure in my mind and how I was measuring energy and sound and light and money and soul, and I had the meters in my mind of how it was all working. I got ridiculously good at martial arts. I quit every drug. I quit drinking. I was jogging every day, and I was doing sets of 20 of chin-ups, and working out with weights, and working on my car, and just not really caring about women or money, which isn't like me at all. And yeah, it's just really strange because I think back now and I'm like, wow, it was really weird because I was a model on Chatterbait for just a short period of time. I just wanted to check it out. I know who goes on Chatterbait, right? But I go on Chatterbait and I'm stupid for it, but I do it. And um, anyways, I thought that maybe I could broadcast, and I did. Like at that point in time, I was like really fit, and I was proud of my body, and I was proud of myself, and whatever. And I went on there, and I realized that like I got like 100 people, 100 women in my room, and like for some odd reason, all of a sudden I was like popular, like on Chatterbait. But whatever, it was like I never got naked. I never got naked on cam. I put on music and I just talk to people or talk to myself and let people watch. And people seem to enjoy me. So much so that when I'd go to their different odds and ends of rooms and whatnot, they would pleasure themselves in front of me and show me that they are aware I am there. Anyways, one day while I was on it, my thumbnails all filled up with different entities within the thumbnails. It wasn't like naked women anymore. It was just like odd shapes of strange looking humanoid creatures, but like vaguely to the point of kind of creepiness, kind of scary looking. And it was about the same time when I was in one of the women's rooms, and a bunch of people just kind of came into the chat. And what the weirdest thing to me was is I don't believe that I had a camera looking at me at that point in time. And I had people in the chat room describing what was going on in my room, what I looked like, how I was reacting, all kinds of things. And I still question that to this day, like what happened there? How the fuck did they do that, right? I have ideas now, but I didn't then. They told me to go for a walk, and I did. And when I went for a walk, there was birds all along my fence and my electrical lines, and uh, one solid green and brown duck that was sitting in the middle of the sidewalk, like literally sitting there. And I walked up to him, and I swear to God, I could have flicked it in the eyeball and it wouldn't have moved. But that's how close I was to this duck. And I took that as a sign, and I kind of meshed them both together, like, okay, so I'm seeing these oddities on the thumbnails, and I have these people describing what's going on in my life at a particular point in time in detail through the computer screen on a chat site that's like totally irrelevant to anything to do with my life, really. But for somehow and for some odd reason, they're paying attention to me and they're watching me and freaking me out. And anyway, yeah, and that's how it started. That I was freaking out because I was also doing drugs at the time. But I want to reassure you, okay? I was coming down off of them, and I wasn't near as high as I could have been, and it wasn't a drug that causes illusions. And stuff like that. It wasn't like that. It was more or less just it made you feel good when you're jerking off. And yeah, that's a pretty embarrassing fucking truth, but it's the reason why while I was having issues with women and I had so many issues. Like, even my best friend betrayed me. My ex was on another man's dick in front of me, and then she made me go to jail for 3 years because of that. Literally, because I found her cheating, she put me in jail for something that we fought about years prior. And it actually held up in court because another ex-girlfriend of mine went and testified with her because Leon paid her to testify with her, and nobody knew that but us. But anyways, that's besides the point. It sure would have fucking helped if the courts knew exactly what was going on at that point in time. But they didn't. They didn't know that it was two ex-girlfriends that were just upset at me trying to destroy me. And look at me. It worked. I am destroyed. Like, look at me. I look terrible. I could show you pictures of me in 2021 and blow your mind. I look terrible. I'm sick. I'm sick and I need help. Because of this. Because of all this. And it's making me realize, like, okay, these things actually happened. See, that's the thing that I wanted to get to the bottom of. That's the thing that made me keep coming back. Because it wasn't just an infatuation with women, it was an infatuation to finding out exactly what that was about. It was an infatuation of finding what that was about and figuring it out, like, not every day does something so strange happen to somebody. Like, nothing that I've ever heard of in my lifetime. That something so strange would happen over a computer or a piece of technology that could, like, literally blow your mind. Literally blow your mind to the point where you have a mental breakdown and you end up in the hospital. And then what happened in the hospital, well, that's another, like, that odd. Everything was odd. Being called Jesus was odd. Being shown plans for energy sources was odd. And numerous people doing it, females and males alike, odd. All the nurses wearing red. It's almost like they did a little routine to try and trick me. It was just all really strange. A man acting like he was retarded, eating spaghetti like a crazy man, ended up being in a business suit the next day behind the security bubble, telling me to have a good day and then getting into a very expensive sports car and driving away. And this is a guy that was supposed to be a patient with me, asking me what I knew about aliens. So you could just get a glimpse into how confusing that would be for somebody who's never had anything realistic like this ever occur in their life ever before. You could just wrap your head around it, right? Anyways, they diagnosed me with schizophrenia. I'm now on a medication that I'm being forced to take. Um, they said that I could drop dead at any moment. Well, the one doctor said I could drop dead at any moment, and he said that he's seen it happen before many times. So it didn't make me feel very easy about what drugs they put me on. But this is all because of that experience. And I was in that experience because, well, my ex that I love very much cheated on me. And it was my way of adapting to a situation that was very painful. So it was just like kind of an escape, and I used it a lot. But the confusion about aliens and demons being on my mind for years and years and years after this. And there's so many other things that I have not talked about yet, and I haven't spoken about, but I'm trying to stay focused on one thing at a time here instead of so scatterbrained, because I know the things that I'm saying holds weight and value in some way, shape, or form, because it literally changed my life. The things that happened changed the paths that I took. And as you can tell, I'm not looking good, and I'm not who I should be. And it's apparent. I was a heeing and a hawing just to get on here. I was thinking, should I do this now? And then I was like, yeah, I should. Well, the memory's fresh. Joe Rogan came on, and this fellow was talking about all of the studying and investigations he's done on these alien abductions and stuff like that, because that's pretty much what I seen in 2015, right? Like, it was all connecting. And they said that using Jesus' name, if you call out Jesus' name and say, Jesus, can you please help me? Can you protect me from these beasts? Who knows, maybe Archangel Michael comes in with a sword and just kicks ass, and you don't know, right? It's a nice thought, because I've had this evil lingering over me now for a long time. It's led to drug abuse, all kinds of things. Abuse, physical abuse. Sexual abuse against myself. And it's embarrassing, but it's the truth. but it all mixed in together. And that's the thing, is like when I was on Chatterbait and I seen these females realize that I came in the room and they'd start getting really hot and heavy or seductive. And literally, like, it was so real. It was hard, I was hooked. It was hard, I was hooked. Yeah. Literally, it was hard, I was hooked. No, but it in all honesty, it was, yeah, like, it was really strange because it was going on cam and had women that wanted me and felt lonely, and I even met a girl in Russia and talked to her over cam, and Tatiana. I actually fell in love with her, but it was a mistake because she didn't fall in love with me. So, but I met her on Chatterbait also, and we talk about all sorts of things, and we were talking pretty much non-stop until the war started. And then after the war started, we stopped talking, and I'm not sure if it's because of technicalities with Russia and her, or if she was just severely pissed off at me that I was looking at other models other than her. Which would make sense that, you know, like, women do get very apprehensive when it comes to rejection or anything to do along those lines. And I know firsthand because I've rejected a few. At one point in time, I was a very beautiful man. Very beautiful man. Young, beautiful man. I was. Nowadays, it doesn't hold as much weight as it used to, but, like, there was a point in time in my life when being handsome held just as much weight as being sexy as a woman. It held the same weight, almost more weight. There was a point in time in my life when it was like almost more weight. Like, I was lucky to be a man, lucky to be me. And well, evil can creep in a lot of different ways and ride in on vessels that are exactly what you've been waiting for. So he's got a good setup. He knows his shit. You gotta be careful with that Satan. And I really, really, really gotta start being honest with myself and improving. Yeah. See what I mean? Like, this video and the last video, the things that I'm saying, you'd think, like, if you actually listen and you don't just think, oh, this guy's a retard or a scatterbrain or whatever, and you actually listen to what I'm saying, like, some of the things that I say are very incredible. Like, you'd never believe it, right? But this is true. Like, these are facts. This is what happened to me. And some of it was while I was sober. So I know damn well that it's fact. Some of it was while I was induced, but being induced doesn't create things for you. You understand? It doesn't make illustrations provide themselves within your mind or your eyesight, what you can see. So I know that what I'm saying is true. I'm not schizophrenic. I seen things that were there and actually happening. But I can never prove them. I have a reason to believe there's technology involved that's not understood yet by most of us. And that brings the one big question, why me? Is it because I'm easily moldable? Is it because I'm easily programmable? Is it because I'm just that type of guy that believes in right and will try and do right, and people know that, so they put me in placement for it? I don't know. I just know what my life was like before 2015. And yeah, it was rough, and I had a tough life. Shot at, stabbed, fucking beaten, gang bang, fucking robbed, lit on fire, bullied all through childhood, beaten by their teachers, beaten by kids, spit on, stolen from. Well, I said that. Psychologically abused by pretty much everybody close to me, or anybody I ever cared about. So yeah, I had somewhat of a tough life. I've been kind of doing fuck all lately, but that's because of all these things that I've been doing to adapt to these experiences and the void it leaves in between. Not being able to differentiate what's what, wondering if I am crazy when I know I'm not. All these things, it all adds up. Oh, there's so much more depth in this. The human language just can't cover it. I can't even get into depth, into how much depth I'm missing. Like, it's not even comprehensible to be able to describe the amount of detail I am missing. I wish that I had some sort of language that was like this. That was able to do this. And reach every available aspect of your thoughts with what I was feeling, thinking, hearing, and seeing at these times. so you could get an idea of just how little I've actually said about the truth. Because it's deep. And it rolls into stories like I met a girl. She came to my house in big green shoes. Green was my color at the time because of Hulk. A crow was crowing on her social media. When I clicked on her thing, it was a crow crowing. And she came over and I fell in love with her, and then she disappeared. But it was the stories that she told me. It was the police that were following us. It was the 7 bangs and the 3 bangs on wood and steel. It was a very odd day that day. Oh, and I took a lighter and I threw it in the garbage just before we went on a walk, and we went down the street like a couple blocks, and there was the exact same lighter sitting on the street. I had to actually go and check and make sure that I threw away the same lighter because it was like exact. And what's the chances of that too? And the 7 bangs and the 3 bangs. Like, who goes out on their porch and bangs on something 7 times? Like, what kind of creeps do that, you know? The lightning in the middle of the daytime. The light posts down the streets that were going on one at a time as I was walking by them. Going down to White Ave and having people talk to me like they knew me, but I don't know who the hell they were. I don't know who they were. But they knew who I was. It was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing. And then people, why that guy? Why that guy? Shouldn't be that guy. And then working with the same guy that caused the Code 44 in the middle of a remand center, in the middle of COVID, which I believe COVID was a sham. I was locked up 24/7 in a fucking cell, and he wouldn't give me underwear for a month. And then I freaked out and I punched him in the face, and then I got a Code 44 and I got my ass whipped. Man, I got whipped for that. But what the weirdest part was is I ended up working with him on a moving crew a few months later. Oh yeah, family members involved, all kinds of fucking weird shit in this. An experiment, a project, they called it. No wonder why I'm a fucking mess, right? Excuse my language. They say that if the devil really wants you and they know that you have something special that they need, they go to whatever extent they can to get it. I think that's what's happening to me. I think the devil is really trying to consume me and kill me for eternity. Because that's what it feels like.